My sister claimed she couldn't attend Thanksgiving because my struggles with my adopted son Jay would upset her daughter. Meanwhile, as I fought to protect my other kids from Jay's aggression, she ghosted me. "You're giving up," she said. "How can family turn their back?" I, a 35-year-old female, have adopted 3 children from foster care. One child in particular has come to us with some behavioral challenges. For reference, we have a daughter, 7 years old, a son, 6 years old, and another son, 4 years old. None of them are biologically related. The oldest and the youngest came to us at birth, while the troubled child, who is 6 years old, joined our family at 15 months old. Over the past 5 years, we have spent thousands of dollars attempting to get him the necessary help and therapy. This is a lengthy story. To those who read this and offer advice, thank you, thank you. His therapists believe he has reactive attachment disorder and possible psychopathy, but due to his age, they cannot make an official diagnosis until he turns 18. His biological mother was his main caregiver, while his biological father was intermittently present. Both parents are addicted to various substances. A welfare check was called in, and the police arrived at the apartment to find the parents passed out with drug paraphernalia surrounding them. The boy was discovered in his crib, surrounded by piles of trash, toys, clothes, tools, and other debris. The therapist believes he has issues with maternal figures because of the neglect he experienced during that time. When he came to us at 15 months old, we immediately noticed problems. He exhibited aggressive behavior and would lash out from the beginning. I remember a time when he was 2 years old and I found myself crying on the bathroom floor with a black eye and a bleeding lip due to his actions. I recall thinking that when I woke up the next day, it would be the same excruciating cycle of him attempting to hurt me every day. After him, we received another placement and had one girl in the process of adoption who had previously stayed with us. We had 3 other placements pass through our home, but none presented any significant issues. The 4-year-old boy, whom I will refer to as the child who came to us at 8 days old, was mostly nonverbal for the first 3.5 years of his life. There was uncertainty regarding whether he was on the autism spectrum or delayed due to being born addicted to substances. I will summarize the most concerning events to keep this long story shorter. Anyone who knows me would describe me as emotionally driven, nurturing, caring, and highly sensitive. We have 5 pets whom I cherish and I absolutely adore them. People often assert that the best way to devastate me would be to interfere with my children or animals. I mention this to illustrate that our children are undoubtedly aware of this. One day, while I was folding laundry, I saw the 6-year-old boy, whom I will now call Jay, standing over our cat. The cat was flicking its tail, eyes closed, enjoying a sunbeam on the floor. I must provide a trigger warning regarding animal abuse here. I am tearful as I relive this moment. At that time, Jay had never harmed an animal before, but he lifted his leg over the cat, appearing poised to stomp down. From where I was, I exclaimed, "Do not dare to do that, we do not hurt animals." I did not yell, but I spoke sternly and seriously because I was genuinely concerned. He stopped and slowly turned towards me, a small grin spreading across his face. I froze upon seeing the smirk but felt relieved when he put his foot back down. The house has an open floor plan, and although we weren't directly beside one another, I was able to see him. That was when he bent down, grabbed the cat by its neck, and began strangling it. It may sound absurd, but the cat did not move or resist. I admit I probably did not handle the situation appropriately. I started screaming and sprinting through the house towards him. I yelled in tears for him to let go, put the cat down, and stop, all the things one would say in such a situation. When I reached him and got him to release the cat, it fell limp to the floor. I dropped to my knees beside it, sobbing uncontrollably when I heard Jay start laughing. Here is the good news: the cat survived. This incident occurred in addition to his harming our youngest son, whom I will now refer to as Silas, who was nonverbal at that time. I do not know if his behavior towards Silas was due to Silas being smaller and nonverbal, preventing him from communicating what was happening, or if it stemmed from jealousy towards the child who came after him and had to share attention with him. What I do know is that Jay primarily leaves our daughter, whom I will call Emma, alone as a target. She is much bigger than him, despite being only 10 months older, and possesses an easygoing personality. When they play, if Jay wants a toy, Emma hands it over to him every time. She consistently allows him to have his way, whether it's taking a new toy, stealing from her hands, or otherwise getting what he desires. Silas does not give in to him. I would say Jay is delayed in maturity and is developmentally closer to Silas. They enjoy similar toys, hobbies, and more. Rather than fostering a bond between them, it has led to constant conflict. Silas fights back and refuses to give in to Jay's demands. As they grew older and became larger, Jay began physically assaulting his brother. He has shoved Silas down our stairs onto a concrete floor, smashed his face with a rubber mallet, resulting in a bloody injury, and more. Throughout this time, Jay has seen multiple therapists and different doctors who have desperately sought to find answers or provide assistance. On one occasion, we discovered Jay standing over Silas in his bedroom while Silas was asleep at around 3 in the morning. That day, we moved their bedrooms to separate floors. My husband, a 35-year-old male, has not slept in our bedroom for over 2 years. The stress surrounding this situation has diminished our intimacy. We have not felt inclined to be intimate for over 5 months. Our lives have been filled with anguish. We ultimately installed a heavy, loud gate at the top and bottom of our stairs and moved Emma in with me. We had attempted to move Silas in with me, but he was accustomed to sleeping alone and found it too distracting, preventing him from resting. We spent thousands on security cameras, which we installed throughout the house. I began setting alarms on my phone every hour of every night to monitor them, leading to years of sleepless nights due to constant alerts. However, it was worthwhile because we caught Jay again at approximately 4 in the morning standing in Silas's room over him. At that point, my husband moved from the couch and placed a mattress at the top of the stairs for added safety, in case Jay attempted to sneak by. We installed door alarms and bells. We took every precaution. During this entire time, Jay continued to visit a specialist at least once a week, and we were trying everything possible. We even paid out of pocket for bonding therapy for him and me, as I was his primary trigger. We were hopeful it would work. While it did bond us closer, it did nothing for his perception of me. He seems to struggle with forming secure attachments. We continued to function as a foster home, so monthly check-ins were conducted, and we provided reports on his progress. The doctors, state representatives, school, and our family all collaborated to try various strategies to find something that would help. Meanwhile, our home had devolved into a prison, and I was the warden for the majority of the time while my husband worked. I was teaching preschool at that time, but it felt like an absolute nightmare. I occupied every moment watching Jay, ensuring I was aware of his whereabouts as well as Silas's. I kept an eye on each pet, monitoring everything nonstop whenever he was not directly beside me. This is when my parents suggested that I consult a pet psychic, as they had found one beneficial. In a lighthearted manner, we thought, why not? I love my animals dearly and wanted to ensure their safety and well-being. The psychic was in another state, and we communicated via video chat. She told me that my female cat needed to convey something to me. The psychic mentioned that there was something I would find folded in a shirt on the window ledge in Jay's room, something I needed to take. I chuckled and thought, okay, as I began to walk down to his room. Miraculously, my cat guided me toward his room. I approached and discovered a knife hidden inside the folded shirt from our home. With the help of his therapists, we questioned Jay about the knife. He admitted he had felt mad and angry when he took it, and when asked what he intended to do with it, he stated he wanted to hurt people. Specifically, he wanted to use it on Silas. He was hospitalized for a stay at a children's facility. During his stay, they initiated medication and sent him home 8 days later. While he was there, we could not visit or talk to him. They wanted him to focus on adjusting initially. On day 7, we were finally allowed to call him. He was 5 years old at the time. When we called, our conversation went as follows. Us, hey buddy, we miss you. Are you doing okay? Jay, yeah, he answered happily. Us, are you ready to come home? We are eager to see you. Jay, no, I want to stay a while longer. They let me eat whatever I want and watch TV whenever I want. I did my best to maintain a steady voice, fighting back tears due to the overwhelming stress of our situation. Here he was at only 5 years old with essentially no emotional ties to us. If our other 2 children had been placed in a cold, unfamiliar environment with large machines and unfamiliar noises, they would have reacted. Silas would have cried out and reached for us, while Emma would have begged us not to leave her. Yet with Jay, it was different. Even when he was dropped off with his backpack, he seemed indifferent. I wept, while my husband also cried, and Jay cheerfully asked, "Did you pack my new pajamas?" That was the extent of his reaction. When he returned home, we had drawn him cards and pictures to welcome him back. He ignored all of us, walking inside and acting as though it were just another day. Meanwhile, I had been physically ill from the stress, experiencing vomiting and anxiety. I worried about various scenarios. What if he was bullied? What if he learned new and more dangerous behaviors? Would he be upset with us? Would he cry day and night? I was consumed by worry for him. Over the course of a year, I lost over 65 pounds due to this entire ordeal. I felt as though nothing was working and became obsessed with trying to find new methods to assist him. I felt immense guilt towards Emma and Silas, who were not receiving their fair share of our attention. When they did get our attention, we were hollow, broken, and sad. Silas needed speech therapy and other support, but each free day I had from teaching preschool or each day my husband took off had to be dedicated to Jay, the priority. Despite installing cameras and locks on everything, we still could not ensure everyone's safety. One day I placed Jay in timeout, turned around, and suddenly felt a sting in my leg. He had stabbed me with a small screwdriver which he claimed to have found in one of the board game boxes. It had come with the battery door. I should have checked the board games for sharp objects. Then we experienced another major incident. These events spanned over the years and appear more severe when recounted collectively. I want to clarify that Jay has issues, but he has a sweet side as well. Unfortunately, he often allows his darker tendencies to take precedence. His smile is radiant and his laugh is delightful. He possesses a dry, witty sense of humor. He is quite the funny little character. Please be kind when discussing him if possible. In fact, his therapist has stated he has developed a mask that he wears outside of our home. In front of others, he seems perfect. It took years for his mask to begin slipping in front of my parents, and I was genuinely grateful when it did. I needed my parents' support so desperately. For them to witness his behavior made it easier for me to talk to them without feeling like I was losing my mind. Returning to the significant event previously mentioned, my husband bathed the two boys in the guest bathroom while I bathed Emma in our master bathroom. After Jay was dried and pulled from the tub, he informed my husband that he had forgotten to set out clean underwear. The bathroom is directly next to where we keep his clothes. I recognized that my husband was fried, stressed, tired, and overwhelmed at the time, but he offered to fetch the underwear and told Jay to follow him. They both entered the bedroom together where my husband grabbed the underwear. That is when chaos ensued. We heard splashing water and screaming from Silas. We collided at the bathroom door, which was now shut. I asked where Jay was, and my husband replied that he was with him. We flung open the door to find that the lights were turned off. I flipped them on and discovered Jay standing over Silas. Jay was wet from the water with his hands hovering above him. Silas sat up, displaying red marks on his chest and neck with water pouring from his nose and mouth. I firmly believe he had held Silas underwater. I do not care that he was only 5 at the time. He was aware of the possible dangers. He had turned off the lights because he thought the new security cameras could not see in the dark. We had previously shown him that they could, but he still employed this tactic. We had also withheld information about the camera placements for safety. He would obstruct the cameras, turn them around, and so on. We did not have cameras in the bathrooms for privacy. Like Silas, Jay's inability to vocalize what happened left us in the dark. When we inquired with Jay, he stated he got lost. We will never know what truly occurred that day. On another occasion, he attempted to throw a hairdryer into the bathtub while someone was in it, after learning at school that it could be fatal. I admit that I am uncertain whether he shows psychopathic tendencies or if he behaves this way for attention. What I do know is that we are out of time trying to find answers. I have started informing my family that we are struggling with the decision that he needs to leave our home. My family has largely supported us apart from 2 members. They understand that this situation is terrible but believe it is for the best. Silas began crying whenever the lights went out. During a movie day at school, they turned off the lights and he experienced a small panic attack. He had learned to associate darkness with Jay being mean. My sister and her family disagree, arguing that we are giving up on a child. Despite witnessing our lives falling apart, we could not proceed with taking action. We believed that more love, new doctors, medication, and prayer would eventually yield a breakthrough. Yet we continually hit dead ends regarding placement options for him. Since he was legally adopted, they could not remove him back to foster care without it affecting our other children. I even inquired about a fire station drop-off, but I was told we would forfeit our rights, resulting in our other 2 children being taken into care. Many mental hospitals claim to accept young children, yet upon calling, we learn they only offer long-term, week-by-week stays. Insurances often refuse to cover consecutive stays, leading us to yet more obstacles. During one of our monthly state visits, this was still technically a foster home. Even though we ceased accepting new placements, the children recognized the representative from past visits. They could see that we were stressed during her visit, aware of the serious nature of her role in our lives, capable of significantly impacting our family's stability. Jay unexpectedly ran, jumped on Silas, and slammed his head into the floor. After that incident, we were informed that enough was enough. We had tried everything, but it was unsafe for the children to remain under the same roof. We had to separate them or risk losing our other 2 children. We were officially out of time. I relocated to my parents' home with Emma and Silas while my husband stayed with Jay in our house. They even performed an unannounced visit to the school, pulling the children from class to inquire about their living arrangements. Thankfully, we had already separated and the kids were honest. They permitted us to return home but mandated that we actively seek placement for Jay. However, they could not assist us in finding options and had no leads. At this point, all of our family had been kept informed of the situation. Jay has to leave or we risk losing everything. Despite providing this information, my sister did not want to attend Thanksgiving because her daughter was navigating a challenging preteen period. She expressed concerns that our family dynamics could lead to triggers for self-harm. This hurt, but she eventually apologized for any misunderstandings. I cherish my sister and did not want to lose her, so we made amends. She seemed to understand, yet I felt very unsupported by someone so close to us. Fast forward to the point where we found the appropriate information from an attorney to secure a future for Jay. We submitted an application through an agency for a couple without children who wishes to adopt him. The prospective mother has professional licensing and education in childhood trauma, along with experience with troubled youth. They have received comprehensive information from every doctor and therapist involved, even down to his shoe size, and are fully aware of the situation, yet they remain enthusiastic and appear to be a good match. My husband and I finally see a glimmer of hope at the end of this tunnel, yet we also feel grief and heartache. We are devastated. There are simply no words to encapsulate our feelings. We feel as though we have failed him. There is no name you could call us in the comments that we have not already inflicted upon ourselves. Only my family and Jay's family know about this ordeal. I asked my siblings in a group chat if I could discuss the adopting couple with them to see if anything stood out to them that I may have missed. I believed we had my sister's support, having thought it was just a misunderstanding before. My brother texted me separately saying, I was unsure how comfortable Tara, a pseudonym for my sister, would be discussing some of Jay's matters, so I decided to reach out to you solo. I replied by sharing the couple's application and he assisted me when I needed it. We talked about any concerns and found it helpful. My sister chose not to respond at all. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt, assuming she may not have seen my message. While discussing their thoughts with my parents, I texted bro and sis, but she didn't respond. They informed me that she had, in fact, told them she didn't want to respond because she couldn't find a way to communicate her thoughts without upsetting me. That was it. The miscommunication she claimed was non-existent. She had consciously decided not to support us, which was her choice. However, I feel we have the right to distance ourselves from those who cannot support us. Pairing that with my brother showing support through a private message rather than in the group chat felt unfair. This was our situation, and I sensed she had made it about her own emotions, her children, and her feelings rather than understanding what we were going through. She feels sad. What does she think we feel? Despite her insisting she has done nothing wrong, it is evident the entire family is aware of her stance. She has openly expressed negativity towards us throughout this entire journey, even suggesting she would let her other two children be taken away in order to keep the troubled one, who, by the way, does not bond with me regardless of all my efforts. We explained to them when we sat them down to announce that Jay had to leave that they could not adopt him. First, they had their own children, and a judge would not place him in a home without a proven success rate. They lacked the necessary training. Furthermore, I explained that my husband and I would not be seeing them again or celebrating holidays together. We would be closing this chapter and attempting to find peace. We felt it would be traumatic for the siblings to see him coming and going in that way. My brother was saddened by the news regarding Jay, yet he seemed to understand. My sister, however, stated that it would be worth it and asked if she could adopt him after the fact. This simply added to my emotional turmoil. She also claimed my brother did not mean it the way I perceived it. I do not understand this response. There was nothing to interpret. His message spoke for itself. As a 40-year-old woman, she has made her feelings abundantly clear, both to me and to our family, which prevents them from expressing their support in the sibling chat. This indicates that she has misguidedly handled this entire situation. She texted me asking if she had upset me as I had seemed distant. I affirmed that yes, she had made her position clear and had not supported us. I believe that she understands this was something she could use to harm me, so she did. She asserts she hasn't done anything wrong, while I fundamentally disagree. She suggested I should consult a therapist instead of addressing my siblings, but I feel that this particular situation warrants their input. I needed to run the new couple by them, not a stranger. I pointed out that, as someone who is a therapist, she should recognize her own inconsistency in behavior. Then she said, as someone who stays home without an outside job, I shouldn't comment on someone else's career choices. Ironically, I spend half of my days at home, 4 days a week along with each Friday. Finding a job is not easy under these circumstances. Furthermore, I have undergone 2 kidney transplants, battled ovarian cancer, and take immunosuppressants daily. Holding down a job while not falling ill is incredibly challenging. She actually donated her kidney to me 18 years ago, which makes this whole situation even more distressing. Our conversation took an ugly turn, but I am ready to move on. It saddens me that she will not know when he leaves after over 5 years with us where he will go or to whom. It is what it is. She commented that she is not wrong in her feelings, and while I agree she has a right to feel that way, we do not have to accept those feelings. In fact, I am genuinely hurt by them. We sat Jay down with pictures and told him he would be leaving. He merely shrugged and stated he understood, expressing that he didn't care. I guess I am just wondering if I am overreacting. I feel as though she has watched me disintegrate into a broken shell. She has seen us exhaust every possible avenue. This matter is simply too grave for anyone to treat it lightly. Am I being unreasonable? To summarize, my husband, a 35-year-old male, and I, a 35-year-old female, are preparing for our adopted child's departure, and my 40-year-old sister has been unsupportive. I am questioning whether my hurt and distance are excessive.